Hello everybody, Roki Magishin here, and welcome to my team breakdown for the Vortex Draft League Jirachi Season 8. Now, this was actually going to be my original return to doing Wi-Fi drafts, but I ended up taking the spot in the PUDL, so that was actually my return to Wi-Fi drafts. But this was supposed to be my original return to Wi-Fi drafts. Because right now things are in, well, not the best position for myself right now. They're okay to where like I'm not as busy as I have been. But I figured, I'm gonna with taking part in this, I've figured that I'd do a quick team breakdown for what I got and my thought process behind everything. Things might change from week to week. I'm not 100% sure yet. I have not fully decided. However, if we go over to the doc that I have here, I'm going to be going through the things in pick order, two at a time because I was last pick. So I had the wraparound pick, so I picked two Pokemon at the same time. So my first two picks was my Terra Captain of Mamoswine and then Urshifu Rapid Strike. Now, going into this, I knew that I wanted to first pick my Terra Captain because there was a lot of very good Terra Captains on the board, and I knew that if I did not get a good one early, that I might not get like a really good one later. It's actually kind of funny because the other Terra Captain that I was thinking about actually never got picked. So even if I didn't have Mamoswine, I still would have gotten what I wanted. But Terra Mamoswine, I thought was probably the strongest thing on the board. So I wanted that. And then Urshifu Rapid Strike. I wanted something kind of comfortable. That was still like pretty high tier on the board. I was debating between Rapid and Single. And I like Rapid Strike a little bit more due to its more consistent priority in Aqua Jet instead of Sucker Punch. So going Urshifu Rapid Strike, I thought that was a very good combination right there. Terra Mamoswine I think is unwallable, so they're gonna have so many problems playing around that. If I can get it in safely, which I do have a lot of pivoting potential. And so going into my next two picks, I knew that I wanted to get some support for the team. So I drafted Noivern and Alolan Ninetales. Noivern is going to be my main hazard removal, and kind of like my quick momentum. So Noivern's got U-Turn, Roost, Defog, Super Fang. Still a respectable attack stat, but it's also got like some fun moves like Switcheroo. I think I already said Super Fang. But a respectable special attack stats. So I could fire off some Draco Meteors, some Hurricanes, some Boom Bursts, all that. So I think Noivern is actually pretty strong. And Frisk is always a nice ability to have, being able to figure out what item that they have. And then Alolan Ninetales, I wanted pre-Terra Mamoswine and Urshifu Rapid Strike behind Aurora Veil is going to be kind of stupid. I can easily come in with Mamoswine behind a Veil and hit stupidly hard. Or with Urshifu, I could set up like a Swords Dance, a Trailblaze, and just go to town with those. Baton Pass, being able to switch out pretty easily. Actually, does Alolan Ninetales even get Baton Pass in Gen 9 draft? That is actually a good question. It still does. Okay, so it still does have that momentum. But it also has Chilling Waters, Encore, Freeze Dry. Freeze Dry is always a fantastic move. Foul Play. Or I could go like a sweeping set one week where I've got the Moonblast, I've got Nasty Plot to be able to set up, and then 100% accurate Blizzards, the Snow buff that happened to the Ice types in Generation 9 Makes Alola Ninetales fairly bulky on the physical side, not too bad there. So, Alola Ninetales, I think, is a fantastic Pokemon, and one that I'm very happy to be able to use for, I think, the first time ever. And another first time Pokemon, looking over at my next two picks, both of these are first time uses for me, King Gambit and Bramblegast. Now, whenever I was looking at my team setup, I realized that, I needed, a flying resist and a psychic resist. And King Gambit does both, being resistant to flying and immune to psychic. And, King Gambit also just can be in the back and just clean up, or behind Veil. Even if, I don't have, all the KOs necessary for King Gambit to, hit stupidly hard. Behind Veil, King Gambit can still hit pretty hard. Or, if they've got a few Intimidators on their team, I can run Defiant King Gambit and not have to worry about their Intimidators slowing down my damage. It would, in fact, increase my damage and be harder to play around, so... I've never used King Gambit before, but I've used Bisharp a few times, and so I figured, not too bad on that part. Shouldn't be too hard to, play King Gambit if I played Bisharp before, but this slot was going to either be King Gambit or Bisharp, whichever was up, primarily King Gambit. And then my next pick of Bramblegast, I wanted a fighting immune Pokemon, or just a fighting resist. And Bramblegast is also a backup hazard removal as well, getting access to that rapid spin, consistent damage in Poltergeist, fantastic move in Strength Sap. I hate that move, so, being able to have it on my side is going to be a little bit cathartic. And overall, I think Bramblegast will fit the team pretty well, just as kind of a backup hazard removal. If I set up my own hazards and I don't want to clear them off. For my next two picks, my first six, I felt pretty good about. And then, things were starting to, kind of panic a little bit on, what did I want next? Or, what did I need still on the team? I knew what I needed, but, I didn't know how I wanted to get it. My next two picks were a little bit on the unfortunate side of Mons that, I feel like I could have gotten better Mons. I went with Gligar, and I went with Toxtricity. Now, Gligar is not a bad Pokemon. With Eviolite, it's fairly bulky, can set up the hazards, it's got momentum. Does not have Roost or Defog, though, in Generation 9, so I won't be able to, really keep Gligar alive all too well. So it's going to be a little bit hard to play around with Gligar, and I don't have any Wish support. I at least have Leech Seed with Bramblegast to maybe be able to keep Gligar a little bit healthy, but Gligar is probably not going to be doing the best, but I still did kind of like it. It's another fighting resist. It's an electric immunity as well. If I tear a Mamoswine, I won't have to worry too much. And I've got a lot of ways to deal with ice types, so I figured Gligar would be a not bad Pokemon. I wanted another ground type because I would be tearing Mamoswine. And this was the best thing that I saw on the board after it was my turn and I was panicking. And then Toxtricity, I wanted an electric type. And Toxtricity was kind of my quick comfort pick, because there was a bunch of different electric types that I was just do I want to use this? No. Do I want to use this? No. I need some special attackers, I need a special attacker. So my thought was just it was either going to be Toxtricity, or I think I had the idea of Alolan Raichu, which wouldn't have been too bad. It would have been a much faster Pokemon. But Toxtricity, I've used it before, and I do like it. So it's got a lot of different sets that it can run, and a lot of different ways that it can be, pretty fun. So I'm not too mad about Toxtricity. I just wanted a different electric type, and I unfortunately, it's not bad, but it's not what I completely wanted. And then for my last 2 picks, I still had a lot of points. I've been getting pretty good at, like, saving my big picks for the end of draft, to where, like, I've got kind of free reign of the top of the board of what's left. And so my last 2 picks, I figured I really needed some special attacking damage, because right now my main special attackers were Toxtricity, Alolan Ninetales, and Noivern. And all 3 of them, like, Toxtricity's the strongest out of the 3 of them. Alolan Ninetales, with Nasty Plot can do pretty okay, but I needed some heavy special attacking damage. And so my last 2 picks for this draft team were Manaphy and Hoopa Unbound. Now, Manaphy is kind of like the overkill when it comes to special attacker, because of Tail Glow setup, being able to just come in, set up the +3 special attack, and when I'm behind Aurora Veil, that is going to be very easy to do. And then I can just unleash some stupid amount of damage and end up just most likely almost cleaning up. I don't have really much like speed support with the team, so like that's gonna be like kind of hard to play around for myself. And then Hoopa Unbound just does a lot of damage himself. Can be around either physical or special. So being able to try and build around that is going to be a little bit difficult. But I do kind of, when it comes to my momentum, I feel pretty good about it. I've got plenty of pivoting. I've got 4 U-turners, a Volt Switcher, and a Flick Turner. I've got my 2 hazard remove mons, my Rapid Spinner, and my Defogger. And then I've got a good amount of hazard setters. Gligar being my premier hazard setter, but Mamoswine can set up the Stealth Rocks. King Gambit can as well if I kind of want to run that way. Brambleghast has access to spikes. So, overall, I'm not too mad about the team, especially when it comes to, like, the type weaknesses, resistances, and immunities. I feel pretty confident in, like, how it's set up. I feel like I'm still like a little bit weak to, like, fire, but with Mamoswine being able to Terra, and with that Thick Fat ability, it will actually still be a fire resist, so Mamoswine can still resist a little bit. But when it comes down to it, I feel like that this is just kind of a very hyper offensive team, to where I'm either going to win fast or lose fast. And I haven't really played that team style in a long time, but it's a team style that I actually do very much enjoy. So, I'm going to do my best. But yeah, I'm fairly confident in, like, the team. There's still, like, a few things that, like, I kind of wish that I had access to. I don't think I really have, like, a lot of different Thunder Wavers for, like, my speed control, because I don't think that Ninetales gets Thunder Wave. Yeah, Ninetales does not get Thunder Wave, so I think Toxtricity is really going to be my premier Thunder Waver for speed control. I don't know about Hoopa, but when it comes down to it, it's like, okay, so yeah, Hoopa can also Thunder Wave if needed. But yeah, like, when it comes down to it, I'm kind of like, 50-50 on it. I feel good about it, but, like, I'm not overly confident, but it is a very offensive team. So, I love playing hyper offense. It is probably my favorite play style. So, at least I'm kind of playing a little bit comforting. I've still got some balance here and there, but I hope that I hope that things go well. Hope that y'all look forward to the season, and subscribe so that you don't miss any uploads for the battles that are going to be happening. Like the video if you like this, and I hope that you all have yourselves a fantastic day, and may this be a good season and all.